Hi. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the only YouTube channel on the internet. And if you're new here, what's going on? What's poppin'? Welcome in, my friend. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This video is probably gonna be on the shorter side of things because I am way too excited to get back to reading because where I just left off, I didn't want to. I did not want to stop, but I talked to some people and they were like, this is probably the best chance you're going to get to sit down and clear all your thoughts about the stuff that just happened before shit gets really crazy. So I'm sitting down now. I'm going to make this video and we're just going to plow straight ahead. I plan on catching up in like the next 4 days. I am too excited to like stop at this point. So right now I am covering everything past Odin's flashback to chapter 1000. I'm just gonna get right into it because like I said, I actually really do want to go read more right now and I need to get this all in my head and then I'm going right back to my couch. So where I left off in my last video was right after we get the traitor reveal of Kanjuro being a traitor and then the supernovas show up to save the day, to save the samurai from the betrayal. They pretty much clear the situation up right away, but then the Kaido pirates have these like long-range cannons and they're firing at them. It's not very important what's going on there. But Jimbei shows back up, which he had an epic reintroduction, and I'm wondering what took him so long to get there. I'm assuming there's a reason because I don't know what would have held him up, you know? And it was just really cool to have Jimbei there and have the entire crew assembled for the first time. And how fucking long to have everyone there and the new member? Like, I think this is the first time that we really saw Jimbei as part of the crew with the rest of the crew there. So I loved that moment. And actually, we have a lot of really good, like, Straw Hats Assemble moments all throughout these, like, 25 chapters. Because it's, like, right after that, when they're going over the plans, everyone's kind of splitting up to go to their different parts of the island. The Straw Hats just plow straight ahead, and there's this, like, guard outpost on the outskirts of Onigashima. And everyone's like, oh, no, where'd the Straw Hats go? And they're like, oh, my God, they already went ahead. Oh, fuck, we gotta catch up to them. We gotta back them up. And then they show up, and the Straw Hats are just like chilling. They're like, hey, yo, this is pretty good. And a funny moment about that is that Zoro, he smelt booze from like a mile away. And then he's like, oh, I knew they had some. And Sanji's like, what the he's like, what is your sense of smell, bro? Oh, Zoro, you alcoholic bastard. We love you. We start getting some glimpses actually into Onigashima after this, and I gotta say, I really love the design of the island as a whole, with the skull in the center. Like, that's already like a cool design choice, but then within the skull, there's like this bustling like buildings of different activities. There's a pleasure house, there's like the concert venue, and on each floor, there's like something interesting to it, and it has that classic Japanese feudal architecture style, which is just fits really well with the theme of Wano, but also looks really cool within this giant skull. I think that's cool. Also, in regards to that, Oda is back at it again with the floors that the characters must ascend to reach the top where the bad guys are at. How many fucking times has he done that? It's always good though. It always works. It always like, I'm like, ooh, like we have a tower to climb. Like it just it's so dumb, but it's also like ingenious because it paces everything and it kind of gives you a sense of like impending danger or like the impending clash, or you're like building up tension throughout the chapters, right? I definitely still think that the best example of it was in Impel Down, but like this is still fun to have. But anyway, once we start seeing into Onigashima, we kind of see the bad guys scheming and plotting. We see what all of Kaido's commanders look like, or like his underlings, you know, like the people that are going to be the main antagonists for our protagonists to have their individual fights with. And it's very quickly that we learn that Kaido has a son, which came out of nowhere. And I actually sent messages to people. I was like, oh, I just found out about this Yamato character as Kaido's son. And then when the reveal happens and you see what Yamato looks like, I was like, damn, he kind of fine. And in fact, Yamato isn't even Yamato at all. He's Kozuki Odin. He's the reincarnation of Kozuki Odin. Who is this Yamato you speak of? Honestly, on the subject of this character, I think he's pretty badass so far. He's had some pretty cool moments, and I am very intrigued to like know more about them. I did get the whole thing at the very end. I'm gonna get to this like at the very end, but the whole thing where we see that he interacted with Ace however long ago, and that was really cool to see. But I'm hoping that we'll see more of Yamato's relationship with their father and sort of how Kaido influenced Yamato to become the person that he is today, because it's interesting. It's interesting that Kaido's own son would turn on him, and I'm wondering what the catalyst was for that, you know? Because Yamato's pretty much immediately on their side and pretty much immediately on board with everything that's going on, and the fact that Kaido was, like, keeping him prisoner on the island and stuff, like, I'm interested to know more about the dynamic there and sort of the history that pushed Yamato to being so adamantly against his own father, you know? But I just jumped way ahead, so let me backtrack real quick and cover some things before I get too far into that. So the plan to infiltrate Onigashima is actually pretty ingenious, with all the different entrances that everyone's taking and the fact that they kind of factor in that Luffy's gonna be a distraction, because they're like, there's no way that we can control this guy. And that is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because immediately, as soon as Luffy gets on the island, he's like undercover for like 2 seconds, and then he starts beating guys up. He enters the party, and I think it's so funny that everyone else is like trying to blend in, and Luffy runs in, just immediately beats someone up for spilling food, and then you see Kid turning, and he's like, what the fuck, what are these guys doing? And then you see, in the background, you see a building just get sliced in half, and Zoro standing there, and he's like, oh, I found the party, I'm here. Because of course, he got lost. Still the funniest running bit in One Piece is Zoro's lack of direction. I will stand by that. That has forever been the funniest running bit in One Piece, and it still is. It's not long after this scene that we see Marco is arriving with Perospero. I think I'm saying that name right. I was excited to see Marco again. Actually, I totally forgot like 2 episodes ago when I was covering the chapters where we first saw Marco's reintroduction, where he's like basically guarding this little plot of land that Whitebeard was from. And I think that's a cool thing to kind of continue Whitebeard's legacy through this character and to show the personal connection. I mean, obviously we knew they were super close, but just to show how Marco is continuing that really makes him very endearing as a character. And the fact that, you know, he comes to help the Straw Hats is awesome, but really cool to see him come back. I've always thought his power was really interesting, and he has really cool applications of it within this 25 chapters where he's able to like light people on fire, but like not really. like he lights them on fire, but like it's just enough to hold off the disease thing, that the ice disease thing. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but he's able to like use his powers in a lot of different ways, and I think it's super cool because it has like a variety of applications. But I'm getting sidetracked again, so let me go back, and I want to talk about Momo. Oh my god, Momo is like low-key the MVP of like this 25 chapters here. He basically lets himself get taken away so that he won't be like a burden to everyone else, because he's being held hostage, and he's like, just let me go, you guys do what you need to, I don't want to hold you back. And so he ends up going with Kanjuro, and they go to the island, and they're alone, and oh, dude, he tries to escape, he gets beat up, and then he's being publicly crucified in front of everyone, and even in that moment, and this is such a powerful moment for me, because when I was reading this, I was like, this is a child, this is a literal child who is going through all of this, which is just like terrifying to think about, right? And in that moment where he's asked, and I think it's Kaido asks him, and it's like, you can basically just say that you are not Kozuki Oden's son, and I will let you live right now. And this child finds the courage in himself to deny it and to be like, I am Kozuki Oden's son. I am the future shogun of Wano. And he has this moment of courage, and then immediately is like, I don't want to die. And he starts bawling. And it's just such a human moment there, where Oda isn't just having some character have some unrealistic power surge of courage. Like, this is a child who does not want to die, who is scared of death. And he still did it anyway. He still wanted to live up to his father's expectations. He wanted to be the kind of man that Oden could respect. And I don't know, man, it just hit hard. I've always liked Momo. I think he's a really interesting character in the way that he's inheriting this legacy. And he, like I said, and I've been saying, he is a literal child. And this is just a really cool moment for him to shine. And I appreciated it. And for some reason, it affected me pretty strongly when I read it. But this is only after one of my favorite moments so far in Wano, which was when Kaido beheaded that little rat bastard snake-ass motherfucker, Orochi. I don't like Kaido, okay? I want him to get the shit beat out of him, okay? But I can't lie, man. I was so happy to see him behead that little piece of shit, bro. I was like, yes, Kaido. Yes, King. Thank you. You get that one. I give that one to you. I am okay with this. He did the world a favor, all right? That's all I'm gonna say. He did the world a favor. Oh, let me just read the list of reasons why Orochi would be missed. Oh, that's right. There are none. I don't even have a list right here because there would never be a list. I fucking hated that guy, okay? God, I'm so glad that he's dead. Anyway, after Shrimp Penis is dead, Big Mom and Kaido reveal their enormous plan to find the One Piece together and then create Wano into this like pirate paradise and create new Onigashima. And they're gonna like completely rework everything and basically subjugate all the people that live in Wano and create this like free, lawless country to do war against the world government. In my first Wano video, I talked about how I think that the conflicts in Wano is some of the best examples we've had in terms of an entire ruling class sort of taking precedence over literally anyone who's poor and just kind of fucking over an entire population. Because in other arcs, it's like, oh, we're just kind of discriminating against this one group of people and that's fucked up. This is like, basically, if you're not rich, you are completely fucked and you're dying of malnourishment. And this is already so messed up. And for Kaido to just be like, you know what? Fuck those poor people even more. Bro, come on. Like, you don't have to do this. Like you already won. You don't have to like subjugate them. Like, they're gonna die anyway. Like, you're just gonna make their lives even worse. Fuck you, dude. I mean, you get the 1+1 for killing Orochi, but then you turn around and pull that bullshit. Come on, bro. What are you doing? Obviously, I'm joking somewhat, but I think this is a really good example of one of the big themes of One Piece, which is, you know, a ruling class or like a dictator or whatever, sort of using the lives of the normal people as like pawns, which is unfortunately like a real world problem. And it just hits really hard in this situation because of what I was talking about, with there being this, you know, whole ruling class of people who are kind of in on this. And they're just like, yeah, fuck all those people. And usually it's just like the one nefarious villain. But now it's just like, wow, all these fucking pirates are going to be like, yeah, fuck these normal people too. And I don't know. It just kind of makes me angry. It's like, stop using just normal fucking people for your plans. Obviously, that's the point. I'm supposed to feel this way, but I'm going to rant about it anyway, okay? This is a really pointless thing for me to talk about, but for some reason, I was just like, God, just leave these fucking people alone. Just like let them go at least. Like, fucking God. But it's like right after this big reveal where we have this epic chapter, which might honestly be my favorite chapter in this whole chunk of chapters, is when the samurai are basically working their way up behind Kaido, and you see all of these like little flashbacks and stuff of them kind of like remembering why they fight, and then they all charge Kaido, and he turns around, and they're all just like stabbing him. Dude, that was epic as shit. That was awesome. I was thinking about it, that moment has been building for like 400 chapters for the samurai to finally strike back at Kaido. I don't remember exactly when we learned that the samurai are against Kaido. It was way back when Kinemon was like explaining everything, but it's been building and building and building, and we've learned more and more and more, and this felt like this penultimate moment of like, finally, they get to strike back against this man who has brought so much misery into their lives, and I don't know, dude, it just felt good for them to be the ones to get that first strike in, you know? And also, this felt so good, was when Kaido turns around and it's like he can feel the will of Odin coming from them, and you see real fear in his eyes. And this is something that's continued when they bring their fight up onto the rooftop and they're all fighting him. And he's like, how are they able to harm me? How is this happening? Because he doesn't understand. And it's because when he fought Odin left a scar on him. And it's like the only time someone's like really, truly like injured him in that way. And so seeing these samurai fight, he is seeing the will of Odin fight on, and it scares him. It scares him, which is awesome, dude. That's right, bitch. These samurai are coming for your ass. Granted, they lose, but it was really satisfying in those moments where he's like, what is happening? And you can see him being a little scared little bitch. That's right, Kaido, you goddamn bastard. So I missed a couple of things. First off, Big Mom has like entered the fight, and this is after Sanji gets so disappointed at the pleasure house because no one's in there. And I thought it was really funny that the moment that that Big Mom is like revealed again. It's with Chopper and her just like making eye contact, and I was like, oh, poor Chopper, he can't catch a break right now, bro. Big Mom has been on his ass for like 50 chapters. But she enters like the main fighting area, and I think it's Nami is like been captured at this point, and she's like about to be like struck down by Big Mom, and then Frankie, my man Frankie, barrels in on his motorbike thing and just like runs into her face, and then Brooke on the back, and he's like slices, and he says, "Consider yourself sliced." They're like, I've pretty much always underrated Brooke's humor for some reason, but that moment got me. I laughed pretty hard at that. And speaking of Frankie, I think it's really clever the way that Oda has worked in all of his gadgets to be sort of like assisting tools for all the weaker members of the Straw Hats, where they at critical times are able to use his inventions. I don't know, it just brings this little, like quirk to the story and to the fight, that we can have these really cool, mecha things going on apart from obviously Frankie the General. I don't know. It's entertaining every time one of his little machines shows up. Anyway, after that moment where they run into Big Mom's face, we have another big Straw Hats assemble moment where they're all in the entrance hall and they're all back together and everyone's like, oh fuck, the Straw Hats are here. I actually got goosebumps reading that moment. It just hit me really hard that their notoriety as a crew has grown so much that they instill like fear and or hope into anyone in a room when they're all there, and like they all have their own like mythos to them, sort of like how I was talking about how we got to sort of see how Roger's mythos grew in the flashback. We're sort of been doing that in this entire time throughout all of One Piece. We've been seeing how these individual characters have their like mythology and legend being built around them, and this is an example here of the crew itself being so like, they're like, holy shit, it's actually them. They're all here. I don't know, man. It really hit me hard for some reason. It's like right after this Straw Hats assemble moment, everyone's again going off in their own direction. Luffy's like, I'm heading straight for Kaido. Some people have to stay in the central. Everyone's splitting apart. Drake is revealed as like a Navy man to the Kaido forces, and they're like, you traitor, and they're about to fight him. And Drake, in this moment of desperation, falls down and is like, Luffy, let me fight for you. I can't tell you my reasons, but we have similar interests now. Our interests align. As I said in my last video, this is a character that I have been so like placid towards ever since he was introduced. I have not cared about him almost at all, but this moment was great. I really liked this like whole sequence here of him like coming to desperation after being revealed as a traitor and feeling cornered and being like, I am going to trust Luffy, and that little flashback he has with Kobe telling him about the kind of man that Luffy is, and Drake just being like, you know what? I believe this. I am willing to put my horse in this corner. That is not the right phrase. Oh my God, whatever. He puts his horse in that corner. I'm sticking with it. He puts his horse in Luffy's corner and he starts fighting with them. This is another one of those moments where it's like, for some reason, I was just like, damn, like, yeah, this is a character I didn't care about, but I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Come join this side. Come help us. At this point, it is basically just all-out chaos. There's been some kind of a virus released in the central room, and Apu is given the antidote, and he's like, you can't give up this antidote or you're gonna die. And so everyone's chasing him around, and they're getting frozen and turning into these like brain-rotted monsters, and Chopper's trying to find the cure, and then Sanji runs off on his own, and he encounters this terrifying spider lady, and then Zoro is stuck on the floor, and he's trying to kill Apu, and then Marco shows up, and Luffy and Jimbei are just running on ahead. Like, it's so much is going on, like almost immediately after all this goes down. I do think it's funny that when Sanji and Jimbei and Luffy are like running down a hallway, they're like, oh my God, it's Straw Hat Luffy and Jimbei, first son of the sea. And then they don't say anything about Sanji, and he's like, what about Black Lake? Why didn't you say anything about Black Lake? It's just crazy to think that they now also have Jimbei on their side, which is another thing I forgot to talk about, is that when it's revealed that Jimbei has joined the Straw Hats, everyone's like, what the fuck? They're like, that's crazy. He's a former warlord of the sea, and now he's joined the Straw Hats. And that just, again, adds to their notoriety of like, oh fuck, they now have a former warlord on their side, and that is a big deal. Amidst all these fights, another moment that I loved this moment, actually. I loved it so much, is when Usopp is fighting, I can't remember the girl's name, but she's the girl with the mask that headbutts people. This moment here, where she jumps and cracks his skull, and then we get the little x-ray, and we see his skull fracturing. And right before it happens, Usopp's like, not again. It's because I remember this moment all the way back in Alabasta. The same thing happened where he got like his skull crushed, or was it like a spine or something? And then we get the momentary x-ray of his bones breaking, and Usopp, he just had a PTSD Vietnam flashback remembering his bones getting crushed. I laughed so hard. Only Oda can bring back a joke from like literally 800 chapters ago, and I still remember the reference. I can't think of any other like really big specific moments within these individual fights right now. Really what I want to talk about is when it's chapter 999 and chapter 1000, we start getting more Ace flashbacks, which always makes me happy. He's one of my favorite characters in One Piece. And we see that Ace and Yamato fought way back when, and they didn't realize that they both hated Kaido, and we also begin to understand sort of why Ace was going to fight Kaido in the first place, because of the promises that he had made to the people of Wano way back when. There is just something so touching about this flashback where Yamato is like asking him about who are the great pirates on the sea right now, and Ace lists them off, but he's like, but none of those people matter because my brother Luffy is going to be the next big thing. He's going to be huge. Just you wait. I was like, oh, Ace, and then the way that after he tells Yamato about what Luffy always says about being the king of pirates, he's like, but you can't make fun of him for that. Me and Sabo won't allow it. You stop, Oda. You stop that shit right now, you bastard. You stop breaking my heart again. I almost cried again while reading those, just reliving the pain of Ace's death. Bro, fuck off, Oda. God damn it. How do you keep doing this to me? Why do you, I understand why you're doing it. Stop doing it to me. No, keep doing it to me. I enjoy it, but God. In regards to chapter 1000, I have been told that I need to watch episode 1015 of the anime, and I am 100% planning on doing that. I'm actually going to do a binge watch of like all of the big Wano episodes once I'm caught up. Probably later this week, I'm going to record everything, all my reactions and stuff, and I'm going to edit them down into a like reactathon video. So definitely expect those reactions soon. But just in regards to the chapter itself, I thought it was fantastic. It was hype as hell, having everyone finally assemble on the roof. All the supernovas are there. Zoro is there. Killer is there, like the two right-hand men of these like pirates. And then of course Law is kind of by himself because his crew isn't there. But it was a really cool like moment where all these big players are finally together. And Big Mom and Kaido were there, and they're staring down at Luffy because they both have beef with him. And they start like taunting him. They're like, oh, say it again before I beat you up. Say the thing you were gonna say it. And Luffy just walks straight past them. He doesn't even look at him, bends down to Kinemon and is like, I will finish this fight for you. I will carry you on my back. And then Law chambres them away. Luffy turns around and says, I am Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will surpass you to become the Pirate King. What a way to cap off chapter 1000, to have Luffy stare down two emperors and say the classic line, I will surpass you to become the Pirate King. Fuck yeah, that's the way to do chapter 1000. Honestly, I feel like I would have a lot more to say about this if I had had more time to sit with it. I literally just finished reading chapter 1000 before I sat down to shoot this video. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, I'm about to finish this video and then go sit down, and I'm probably reading like 30 plus chapters tonight. Where am I going to stop, bro? There's no stopping point. But because of that, expect my next reaction videos very soon. I'm probably going to do one video sort of wrapping up Wano, and then I'm going to do one last video catching up from everything from post-Wano to current chapter. And I'll have both of those out later this week. I fully intend on being caught up on chapter 1069. I was maybe not going to do it, but now I'm doing it. I am 100% doing it. I want to be there regardless, but it's so funny to be able to say that I caught up on chapter 1069, so I'm doing it. Apologies if this video was like all over the place and like didn't make a lot of sense, because I am just buzzing right now. I am super excited to go back to this story right now, and my thoughts are all over the place. But anyway, yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I am really excited to come back and share my thoughts about what's next. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about it. So until next time, which probably shouldn't be long from the release of this video, I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. See ya.